Hey everyone, I'm Wonderwolf from the Evolve podcast, and these are the EOZ VR tracker straps. I've been given a couple different straps to review, and I've been vigorously testing them for about a month to see how they work, how they feel, how they look, how reliable they are, and how durable they are. The products I will be reviewing are the vrchat X EOZ Utility Straps version 2, the vrchat X EOZ Chest Strap version 2, vrchat X EOZ Hip and Waist Strap, the EOZ VR Feet Straps version 2, and the vrchat X EOZ Feet Straps version 2.5. Previously, I used these straps from EOZ Reality, the Track Strap and the Track Strap Plus, so I'll try and compare my experience throughout this review. I've tried to test these straps in pretty much all scenarios, like dancing, exercise, yoga, and day-to-day stuff too, like sitting, laying down, and standing, regular play sessions. Also, sorry in advance if my voice sounds a little bit weird today. I am a little bit sick. I have been quite a bit sick for the past couple of days. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the review, starting with... I'm really mixed about this one. Shipping for my devices took a little over 2 weeks from the time of ordering to actually getting to my country, which was quite a while. It began 8 days after the order was made, and 8 more days later, it arrived at the International Post Office. Now, EOZ VR does provide a shipping reference of about 3 to 5 business days for all the products, so maybe I'm just unlucky with my order, but I don't have a whole lot of frame of reference since these are the only products I've ever ordered from EOZ VR. And I also don't know many other people who also live in Brazil who could comment on how long their shipping took. It's also worth noting that I did choose standard shipping, not express shipping, so maybe that's part of it. And I did pay $32 for the shipping process itself. So this is the package the product was shipped in, and these were each of the products found inside. Packaging is quite charming personally. I kind of like it. The colors and the design, they speak to me, and it helps it stand out from a lot of the other stuff I order every now and then. As for the products themselves, the individual items, they come in these small little Ziploc bags with each item organized and labeled very clearly. I didn't touch these straps beforehand, and thankfully customs didn't either, so they should arrive pretty much exactly the way that they did in my case. The one thing that I did notice that is missing is there's no laundry tags, there's no manual or anything of the sort. So it may be a little bit difficult for you to figure out how to use and wash them, but they are currently working on this. The packaging's neat, it does what it's supposed to do, seems durable, and I like the design. But it wasn't entirely a smooth experience, so I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10, as I think some of the negatives I had at the process were kind of balanced out by a lot of the positives. So each of the straps sold in the store come in pairs or individually, with one exception I'll get to, and they seem to be priced adequately, not too cheap and not too expensive. But this also means that you can't order a single foot strap or a single utility strap, and there's also no bundles for lower body tracking and upper body tracking. You just kind of have to buy bits and pieces. Looking at their policies, they have a 6-month warranty against any defects in the straps, so if they're not working quite right, they arrive damaged or have notable defects, you can get replacements free of charge. There's also a 7-day return policy, so if for whatever reason in 7 days you need to return the straps, you can return them for a very small fee. The most affordable strap you can find on the store are these $5 entry-level basic straps, which are a very simple design. But it is important to note that these are compatible with the Tundra trackers, because this little base plate, this thing only slots in Tundra trackers. So if you're using another type of tracker, it might not work for you. The standard straps, however, retail for $30, sometimes slightly below, with chest straps being a notable exception, since those cost around $28 more than the other straps. So if your hip strap, for example, costs $30, then the equivalent chest strap will be $58. Collab straps, like the ones with vrchat, Trans Academy, so on, those will have an additional $10 fee. So $30 becomes $40, $58 becomes $69. Nice. The total for the items I was sent was around $219, and that was for 2 pairs of foot straps, 1 pair of utility straps, 1 hip strap, and 1 chest strap, and that is in a tracker setup. The standard shipping, as I said in my case, was $32. And for reference, the track straps that I purchased from EOZ Reality sell for $49 when not on sale, for a full pair of hip and feet straps. There's also this version, the Track Strap Plus, which I mentioned. These ones have batteries inside of them for extended play, and they sell for $130. So it's a very notable price jump. Since EOZ VR currently doesn't sell straps with batteries in them, I won't be comparing it to this price range. But given their quality and the sale price, I would say that the overall pricing is a 9 out of 10, since I don't see a lot of discounts and sales offered as frequent as some of its competitors, but I'm also sure that given how high quality the materials seem to be, that it's reasonably priced in the market. I think each strap is pleasantly designed in terms of its aesthetics and its functions. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the neon lime green colors for the EOZ branded straps, but I can appreciate how it stands out, and it does look really nice. Now, my favorite color is blue, so if you haven't guessed, I really like the vrchat colored ones. There's little details here and there because they do look like they're very carefully designed. For one, the straps are very clearly labeled with left and right markings, so no confusion there, unlike my rebuffs. And every little loose bit of slack has somewhere where you can put it so it doesn't dangle around and mess with you while you're moving. I'm also a huge fan of the feet straps. I really like this little loop around the ankle. It's so simple, but it solves so many problems with the other feet straps that I've used. My favorite is going to be this little cable style strap on the vrchat ones because they're lighter and a little bit less noticeable, but both of them are really good. The material is very soft and flexible. From what I've been told, it is made of neoprene, polyurethane, and polyethylene. As I said before, there's no manual currently, and there's also no tutorials on the website itself, but I have asked the team, and they said they are actively working on resolving all of these problems in the near future. They are very easy to clean. You can hand wash them, just don't use alcohol, and they're machine washable, but no tumble dry. Just make sure to take the tracker off first. Yeah, don't do that. I've been able to use these things and test them for a few hundred hours throughout June, and I think they're pretty durable, pretty reliable. They look pretty much the same way as when I got them. For reference, these are my rebuff straps after using those for 5 years. And while I do take really good care of my products, you can see there's a lot of twist marks and there's some stitching coming loose and everything's sort of falling apart. Now, obviously, I haven't been able to use the EOZ VR straps for 5 years, but from what I see, and from what I've seen from other users who have used it for a long time, it does appear to last a reasonable amount of time. There are a few notable flaws in these designs, however, particularly with the chest and hip straps, but there are some overall issues that I noticed. The chest strap, for example, is exceedingly difficult to adjust while you're wearing it because the mechanism to unclamp, pull, and move that little adjustment in the back is really uncomfortable, and most people probably can't reach it. There's also no way to mount a tracker on the back side of this strap currently, and I've of course seen the complaints from users that maybe have a larger chest that the chest strap doesn't quite fit properly and the tracker doesn't really mount in a secure manner. So if you do happen to be one of those individuals, I would recommend looking for a different chest strap, or if you're okay with beta testing, you can sign up to beta test their new prototype strap designs through the Discord server. As for the hip strap, it only really has one buckle, so if you want to wear the tracker in very specific spots on your body, you might have some difficulty closing the buckles together. All the straps adjust in their expected ways for the most part. However, they all suffer from that same general inconvenience that I commented on with the chest strap, where if you're wearing them, they are not very easy to adjust. They're clearly designed so that you adjust them before you put them on, but that does turn it into kind of like trial and error because sometimes you don't know how tight is tight enough until you put it on, and then you have to take it off and then tighten it again or loosen it and then put it on again, and it's a process. And in some cases, it's just outright impossible. This also makes it really hard to actually share the straps if you have vastly different body shapes or types, because essentially you're going to need the other person to help them get into the straps instead of just allowing them to adjust it themselves. I do at least appreciate the minimal use of the Velcro, which helps it last a little bit longer and does make it slightly easier to work with. So overall, there's a lot of thought and effort put into these designs, and clearly it's made by people who use this stuff themselves and who listen to the community. So I will give it an 8 out of 10 in its overall design, and for the material quality, 10 out of 10. These things are soft and they're stretchy, so stretchy. One thing that I noticed very early on in many of the other straps I used, that they were more of a dry and rougher material, which didn't feel quite as good to have on your skin and to have like rubbing against your body. They also used much more rigid materials, which meant that when you tighten them, you could really feel how tight they were, because they would press around your arms and legs like a pressure monitor. Otherwise, if you didn't do this, they would come loose and they would just shift around and your tracking will be completely messed up. EOZ's materials instead is actually quite cleverly deceptive. You often forget that you're wearing them at all, if not for the weight of the tracker itself. And that's due to this sort of equal distribution of pressure that you get, because the material is just so flexible that some of the pressure ends up turning into tension inside of the material. Feet straps though, definitely my favorite, just because of this little thing in the back that makes you barely feel them and they barely move. The only strap that I did find mildly uncomfortable was the chest strap, but honestly it is very difficult to make a chest harness feel comfortable. For what it is, it works and it's not too annoying, so I won't complain too much. Now these straps will leave pressure marks on your body if you wear them for long enough, but it's not really painful, like at all. Same cannot be said for these rebuff straps. God, if you wear these things for more than 2 hours, bless your soul. At some point, you know, you just kind of learn to get used to it and you tune the pain out, but honestly, it's just better to not have any of that at all. Thankfully, the EOZ VR straps don't suffer from any of those problems, so in terms of comfort, I'll gladly give all of these straps a 10 out of 10. Overall, on every aspect, I will give these straps a rating of 8 out of 10. As a hardcore VR enthusiast, I can definitely recommend these straps to anybody who is looking to get full body tracking equipment, as I like what they're doing and personally believe that they're making really good products with great passion and care for the VR community. They're definitely a notable improvement over other straps I've used. Obviously not flawless, but a lot of it is good. And while I do know there's a lot of prototypes in the works and that EOZ VR is listening to the community and making new types of straps, I do want to review these products as is, since this is what you would get if you were to go to the store right now and buy straps. That being said, I did have a good time working with the EOZ VR team. They were very approachable and they would gladly answer a lot of the questions that I had. I will reiterate that this review is not sponsored by EOZ VR and there was absolutely no involvement in my critiques or opinions. I was given free reign to talk about them however I wanted, and I respect that. I definitely look forward to working more with them in the future, especially with their upcoming VR gloves. And I hope that this was both informative and entertaining. And that's all I have for you guys today. Leave a comment with your thoughts, concerns, experiences. Don't forget to like or dislike, it's your choice. And subscribe to keep up with more VR news and reviews. Have fun, stay weird. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. This is so jank, but you know, it's the best thing I could do. Anyway, oh my god, I'm dying, it's okay. I wish I could make this block input thing like universal. That would simplify a lot of things. Anyway, and that's due to this equal distribution. And it doesn't, okay, what is going on with my hip tracker? Is it this cable that's messing everything up? Okay. I said, okay, this cable needs to go somewhere. Okay. Cool. Okay, we can stop recording that now. Okay, I said we can stop. That's the stop button.